Good evening, everyone. Warm welcome to all. I'm Dr. Juhi Yasmin, Assistant Professor of Communicative English, Department of CAC, AI and ML, and Cybersecurity, Faculty of Engineering and Technology at Jain, deemed to be university. I'm here to welcome you all to today's Industry Connect session. And today's session is on cybersecurity, and the title for the session is Third-Party Risk Management. And for that, today we have with us an esteemed guest speaker, Mrs. Athira Gopalakurup. She is, I hope I'm pronunciating your name well, ma'am.
Yes, you are.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you, ma'am. Yeah, so she's an ISCT certified security professional with 9+ years of experience in technology risk consulting, third-party risk consulting, information security consulting, IT audit reviews, policy implementation, compliance, encryption, and finding management, securing the infrastructure, network administration, Windows system and firewall, and device implementation. Presently, she is working at Lowe's India as a senior analyst GRC. She has had also worked with reputed organizations like EY and Alliance. Madam, on behalf of the entire Jain family, I would like to extend a warm welcome to you and would like to thank you for taking out your precious hour to be spent with us. Today's audience is students of B.Tech CyberSecurity, BCA, and as well as our faculty members of the same department. Now is over to you, ma'am. Please start the session.
Thank you. Thank you so much. Good afternoon, everyone. Juhi, could you please confirm my voice is clear and my screen is visible? I'm about to share.
Yes, ma'am. You're audible, clearly audible to us. Please start sharing.
Just give me 1 second.
Yeah. Yes, ma'am, your screen is visible to us.
Thank you. So, everyone, it's nice to meet you. Let's start. Actually, I want to thank everyone, even your faculty members, because this is something we never got when we were doing our B.Tech, to meet someone who is actually out there in the business and can share the pulses of what we are getting into.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, it's a kind of privileged thing that our students are getting, and we are so fortunate that today you're joining here with us for this interactive session. So all the best, ma'am.
Sure.
Just go ahead with your presentation.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So, Juhi give an introduction of mine and pretty much well, but since I want to explain something, like currently I'm a senior analyst in a Fortune 35th company, which have a branch in India, Bangalore, and I'm working as a GRC senior analyst in information technology. So most of you will think, what is GRC? So it is governance, risk, and compliance. So when we talk about cybersecurity, most people think about like it should be some cyber attacks, something hacking, something going to happen. But for an organization, we always look for governance, risk, and compliance. These attacks, these cyber related issues, breaches, everything comes in risk when the governance and compliance fail. So if you ask me what GRC, in a simple way, GRC is a structural approach to align IT, that is information technology, what we are learning, with the business. Always a company or organization is established to align whatever their goals with whatever they require from our side, engineer side, like information technology side. So risk, we are managing risk using this governance and compliance in an organization. So as you can see in the screen, Today's topic is third-party risk management. So when I was approached to take a topic, so I was thinking which topic I should go for. I know for us in the B.Tech, all topics will be new. Like we will be happy to get any topic. But why this topic is, when you guys come out, this topic, third-party risk management, will be in its boom stage. So today's topic section's agenda is we will look into what is third party risk management as an overview, and why third party risk management exists in cybersecurity world or information security world. What is a risk to an organization? When we are talking about an IT firm or organization, we will look into what are the risks they have, um, and how the TPRM team is helping to get rid of that. And to to your understanding, I will give you a brief explanation of what are the steps we follow to do the TPRM in an organizational perspective. And I will give you guys a brief introduction on the life cycle. It's a vast topic. Even first I thought I will take a risk management topic. It is even bigger than that. So third party risk management is something I can explain you guys in a simple language, and you can understand and you can relate it uh, to the outside world with your normal curriculum. So third party risk management as an overview. So third party risk management is a form of risk management. It's only a form of risk management that focus on identifying and reducing risk related to third parties. So when I say third parties, it's the literal English meaning that it's a vendor, supplier, partner, even it can be contractors, even service provider. To better understanding, you can imagine that you gave your it's just an example. You gave someone to build your home, and that's a contractor. So that's a third party between whoever to you, that is a third party. And there will be some people engaging who provide the building bricks, cement. That's also third party to you, because you are paying them, you are taking risk. Whatever, if they provide bad iron, then you are taking the risk. That's an example of a particular third party. This discipline is designed to give organization an understanding of third party. Third party risk management is actually gives the organization how they can use the third party, what are the safeguards the third party is taken to store or safeguard the data we share with third party. Like same example, if you are giving your contractor your lands details, your personal information, you are giving the contractor so that he can call you, he can use that to get approvals and all. But only the TPRM assessment done on that particular contractor will only identify, give you the information that how secure your data with that particular contractor. So the scope and requirement of third-party risk management program are, are dependent on different type of organization. So as I said, an example for contractor, that's a basic example. Like you can believe on that contractor if you know him already. So there are organization who think like organization which have your credit card details, your debit card details. Think about your bank which hold your money amount, financial details. So when a third party is involved with the bank, you have to make sure that your data is secure. So that time, whatever the discipline we follow in processing the third party and an assessment is different from what we follow with the contractor who come to build our house. So even though there is different kind of TPRM process done on different level of organization, there are some universal practices are applicable to every business and organization. While extracting the definition of third-party risk management, which is sometimes usually interchangeable with other common industrial terms. Like what I said, like third parties like vendors, suppliers, contractors. So the third-party risk management also have different names like vendor management, supplier risk management, or supply chain risk management. So third-party risk management is a universal name for everything like supply chain, vendor, risk management, etc., etc. So this is something I can show you as an overall thing. So here, this is a nutshell. You are seeing, you can see a tree where, which is the organization, and all the branches are the other department, and it is always viable to outsource few of the services to other entity which is outside the organizational environment. So before going depth into this particular picture, I will tell you why risk management or third party risk management is important. While third party risk management isn't a new concept, but from the past few years, you know, it's corona, right? COVID-19 from 2019 and COVID has started. So what happening is that while third party are engaging with the organization due to this COVID-19 pandemic have impacted almost every business and their third parties, no matter the size, location, industry, everywhere it is affected. If you are a constant followers of some cybersecurity news, you are eager to read, you will hear about solar wind breach. Solar Winds is actually a supplier of third-party network devices or some other devices in IT. They have a loophole in that, and the hackers get that loopholes into, and they breach almost every organization in US, including their military. Sorry for my dog noise outside. Sorry for that. So in addition, data breach or cybersecurity incidents are common. In fact, most of the breaches, like 75% to 85% breaches is happened because of not doing a third-party risk assessment. So what happens is that most modern organization relies on third party to keep that organization running smooth. For example, if you see this picture, you can see that there is a technology, that's a department in an organization, and that department have infrastructure and application support. Of course, our servers, whatever our login details are there, hosted third-party solutions are there, disaster recovery is there, licensed third-party solution hardware lease is there. So what the thing is that for technology, and an organization can't do everything by their own. So what they do is they will outsource few of the things to other organization. That organization will become the third party of current organization. So if they never do the proper assessment, whatever the loopholes or the drawbacks or the risk, the cybersecurity word is risk or vulnerability in the third party will affect the main organization. If the hackers, breachers, attackers, crackers, these are the common name of hackers we call in the cybersecurity world. They are attackers, crackers. So they uh, take advantage of this vulnerability. They become a threat to an organization, and there is a risk happen in organization because of this risk. Organization can lose their reputation, lose their money, goodwill, everything that we will discuss in coming slide. So the big question from this picture is that we trust our vendor for keeping data secure, service intact because of the foreseen threat. Like there can be not only the attackers use the loopholes or the drawbacks or the risk in the organization, but also there are natural disasters, There can be some supply chain issues can happen, or any other unfavorable condition. So this is the answer which we will be checking from the vendor and do the risk assessment in third-party risk management. I will go with next slide. Why TPRM exists, like third-party risk management exists. As I said, there was many things happen because of the risk we have in vendor, like the vulnerability, the loopholes they have in vendor side. So these are the few examples. You must be here about Home Depot. It's like Walmart, Flipkart, or like an organization which collect users data. They have stores in different region in the world. Home Depot, even Bangalore have Home Depot. So what happened is that they lost data, particularly their customer data, which is of highly secure, which need to be highly secured. They lost, the hackers stole those data via a third-party vendor by taking the credentials of third-party vendor who used to log into Home Depot sites. So whatever the credentials means username and password, they used to log into the Home Depot server that was hacked or stealed by the hackers from a vendor database, because vendor database is not that much secured. So what hackers did is they go directly to the vendor, they steal their credentials, they log in using that credential to Home Depot, and you can see that in the bottom they have to pay 179 million for this. This is a legal fine. This is not something stealed by a hacker. This is the legal fine that government issued on Home Depot for not protecting their data. That means even though the hacker logged into Home Depot site and do something, that is not what the issue is. The main issue is they lost their customers paying cards, like 56 million paying cards they lost. They found out the loopholes in Home Depot computer network and get the user details, like their username, password, their credit card details, their home location, because Home Depot is something which deliver things to your doorstep. So they have their home address. So these are the important data out there, which is highly valuable. So what happened is that legally, when action taken on Home Depot have to pay off $179 million as a legal fine to the government. So coming to the second case, Target. Target is another uh, com commodity selling organization like Home Depot. So in 2013 case, where there is a 70 million PII data. PII means personal personal information data. Whatever a data related to a person, like his name, email address, phone number, home address, his Aadhaar number, UAN, etc. is the PII data of a person who show that it's you, like your thumbprint, your sign, everything is PII data. So what happened to Target is they lost 70 million PII data and 40 million credit card data were exposed, and they got a legal penalty of $300 million because of losing this data. They have to pay this to government and all the other people who claim against them for losing their personal data. So this is another case, and another one is global electrical data breach, which is a recent victim. They lose, this has happened on 25th 2021, and GE's data leak exposed personal data of thousands of their employees, not customer. Their employees data is lost, and a data breach result in a legal penalty of $160 million. So all the three cases, whatever I discussed, just are due to the lack of control over the third party and lack of due diligence upfront, because the people, they didn't think about this. There are ways which they can lose data from the vendors they are connecting to. So from TPRM presence is to reduce the cyber breach in every organization. So all these vendors are monitored constantly, whether it is high, medium or low scale vendors. Like high, when I say high, medium or low scale means if a vendor is taking PII data from an organization, that vendor have to be a high level data or confidential. If a vendor is dealing with a confidential data of an organization, that vendor is in a high tiering or high level vendor. So we have to do a TPRM assessment in that way. I will show you in next slides how we segregate them and how we are checking their priority and how we are doing this. So these are the common risks for the organization from the third party side. So, so the question I over here whenever I take this topic is that what is the requirement of third party involvement? Have you ever thought uh, which comes to an organization? So answer is three main factors. If you don't do a third party risk management, three things can happen to your organization. That is um, high cost, which can happen because of these breaches, or because of you have to provide many security controls to prevent data loss from vendor side. So that is high cost. Or decrease in efficiency, like if a vendor is asked to provide something, you won't get that in time. It is also comes under third party risk management. That can be a decrease in the efficiency, which will show as a decrease in efficiency of an organization, and decrease in the quality. So when the particular commodity didn't reach your organization in a particular time, then we can't provide the quality we assured. We will be in an emergency to provide something which we already assured. And while we following third party risk management not in a proper way, it can adversely affected for the regularity and reputational risk of an organization. So, which we need to keep it a controlled oversight and a framework so as to access the risk while engaging a third party vendor. So other risk we may have involvement on third parties, productivity risk, which low sales due to an outage happen with a third party, or legal response fees. This is if some breach happen, a legal price will be upon you. So if you ask me, in India currently we have to fought for those fees, but um, I'm not sure whether you know there is a PDPB bill discussion happening. It going to be implemented soon in India, which is happened. I know 5 or 6 years back, started 5 or 6 years back, but as per the update, it going to be implemented soon. So once that comes in picture, if there is a slight breach, whatever the laws which follows in other European or US countries, no, that is going to come on India also, Indian companies also. There is a breach, they have to pay a huge amount as a legal fees. So other things are like replacement risk. So if a third party is not properly assessed and they are not in a stage to replace the hardware they already provided when it have some issues, then that's the cost of the replacement will increase. And if a breaches happen, loss due to dip in market share can happen, regulatory fines can be involved, reputational risk, which as we all know is the most important thing, would be imposed on an organization. So these are the risks which organization have, or if we not do third party risk management. So I hope you guys understand what third party risk management importance are and how it's affect an organization if they don't do a third party. Like every organization have at least one third party they used to engage in business with for any work. For example, if you're thinking it's a small organization, they're required a security or CCTV camera they required. So they have to contact a vendor to provide the CCTV camera. So what happened in that case? Whatever issue happened with the CCTV, a person, a hacker who hack into a CCTV is also because of not doing the third-party risk management. Because that IP, the access to the camera, everything is gone from the third party. So next, I will show you guys how we do TPRM in an organization. So what actually the TPRM team or the TPRM management team is responsible. They are responsible for identifying risk associated with third-party engagement, all the engagement. And this TPRM team will include technical experts. They will suggest what are the remediation required for the third party so that they can improve the storage and security details, educating the business people. So when I say educating business people in an organization, we are just an IT people. We understand technical terms. We understand how the data breach, everything happen in technical perspective. But the actual business is not taken care by us. It is taken care by business unit. So business unit have to be educated why TPRM is important uh, before they directly share the details, technical details, confidential or regulatory data with the third party. So that's is also a responsibility of a third party risk management team, and protecting the data associated with each and every business. So when I say business means there can be data like our confidential data or our customer data, etc., in the business happen, or whatever the data which happening in the sharing of that particular business. Then second one is our employees data. So even though the client vendors data is important, our employees data is as well as important. If you have if you are an owner of an organization, you have 300 to 400 members under you, you are responsible for safeguarding all the details about that employees. Like your employees will have their home address with you, their bank accounts with you, their health details will be with you. So you have to protect that data also. And also your customer data. Customer data, customer is blindly believing you and giving you their, if you are an online selling company like Flipkart, Amazon, something, they we used to give our credit card details to buy things, right? We gave them our phone number, home address, our spouse name, etc., etc. So that should also protect it. This is also taken care by third-party risk management. You may ask how third-party risk management take all this thing. Third-party risk management is like a higher authority who check whether everything is in place. If not, ask your team, your inner team to protect these data. Also ask the third party team, these are the data which we don't want to go out. So show us the details how you're going to protect. We cross check that, we manages that, and we will inform the business that we can't do a business with this third party because they are not properly safeguarding our data. So don't share anything with that. That is the main third party risk management team will do. So while you may think what we are going to accomplish from this. So accessing every new vendor as they come on board, we will be helping the business to identify what are the risks they come with. Like if they have loopholes, whether the PII data can be lost from their side, we will inform this to business that if you share details, there are loopholes where a hackers can get these details and it can be misused from their side. So TPRM team also do a assessment on a vendor continuously. So think like this: if one vendor come on board, you done an assessment as a TPRM team. This vendor's security posture can be changed anytime from our assessment to next 1 year. Think like this. So if we leave after our first assessment, there is a chance that they got into some loopholes, some vulnerability, some patches they didn't do, and this can have a vulnerability there, and someone can act as a threat, and it can cause a risk to our data, whatever they are storing. So TPRM team will assess these vendors continuously. It is based on the importance of that vendor, like whatever kind of data, what level of data they are storing of our organization, and we do an assessment based on that. So if they are holding a high critical data, and our organization have a policy of doing assessment 6 months, we will do assessment of a particular vendor in every 6 months or 1 year or 2 year, like that. So that's one thing. So another thing is that when there is a data breach happen, or a threat happen. For example, recently 3 months back, there is an Apache Log4j vulnerability has been found out, and there was a company who say how the breach is happened, what was the outcome of that vulnerability and all. So as a TPRM member, what we did is that we assess every vendors in our organization to find out whether they are affected by that particular vulnerability. So this is also a part of TPRM job. And whenever there is a scope change. So if you remember the first example I said, you gave your details to the contractor. The contractor is getting cement, rest of the thing. So first you have an agreement with the contractor only to build the home for you. But later on, after 6 months, you have another contract with that contractor to get all the sanctions or buy another land, and he have to do the legal things and all. There is a scope change happen, because at first you don't need to give him more details, just money or the area details you have to give. But later on, there is a scope change happen, you have to give him all your important documents with you. So whenever there is a change in scope happen in a third party risk management, we do a complete risk assessment. So this is the life cycle of a third party risk management. I won't go depth to this, because each and every topic have a 1 hour talk on each thing. I will give you 1 line or 2 line on each topic. So this is the life cycle. First, vendor identification. If business identify a vendor, they will give you the details. You will check or assess for the primary investigation that vendor is suitable for the requirement from the business or not. That's the vendor identification. Evaluation and selection. You evaluate the vendor, whether the vendor is good or bad in cybersecurity perspective. Like if they have breach in previous year, how capable they are to store your data, how security posture of that vendor. That all things happened in evaluation and selection process. Next is risk assessment. Risk assessment is a huge topic in cybersecurity. So it has several steps. Um, there are standards which give how you can do a risk assessment. But in a simple language, in risk assessment, you will find out what are the risks the third party poses. You will check how countermeasures can be provided, and you also check how it will affect your organization if a breach happened. That all these things are taken care in risk assessment phase. Next is risk mitigation. When your third party analyst found out there was an issue in the risk assessment that need to be covered or cleared before we get engaged to that vendor, That is done in risk mitigation. We will ask vendor to clear these issues before transferring data from our organization to the vendor organization. Next is contracting and procurement. This involves our legal team and organization's legal team. They ask your sign off for legal contracting and procurement. Next is reporting and record keeping. First, we report about this third party management. We have intelligence tools. We add these vendors to that intelligence tools, and we keep a record, whatever they provided, like certifications, like security controls, etc., whatever they provided, and we store for that. Why we are storing this reporting and record keeping is that whenever they possess an outage, there can be a news, there can be a communication happen that the vendor is find out with a vulnerability, or there is a breach happen from the vendor side. It will be reported to us, to our organization, that that particular vendor have some issues or some breaches, so that we will take care of that, like assessment or whatever the thing required, we will take care of that, or the legal thing also we take care along with the legal team. Ongoing monitoring is also the same thing, like reporting and record keeping help us for ongoing monitoring. Our intelligence tool will continuously monitor the vendors and give us the feedback, whatever issues happening in their side. Next is vendor offboarding. So vendor on the all above process from ongoing monitor to vendor identification is called vendor onboarding, and the other one is vendor offboarding. So it is important as much as vendor onboarding, because when we are laying off a vendor from our organization, we have to make sure that all of our data is removed from that particular vendor, so that after the end of contract, they won't misuse our details which they are storing. So that's pretty much brief single line explanation of third party risk management lifecycle. So this is steering. I said, as I said, we won't do risk assessment for every vendor in an equal format. So here, what we do is that this we are looking at different tiers, which is based on the data classification. When we interact with business unit and vendors, we first mainly look into two main points. That is what data we are sharing with the vendor, and second is any technology integration is happening, like we are giving access to our network, or we are giving any other technology integration is happen between organization and vendor infrastructure. So we are dividing this tiering or the vendors based on that. For example, the confidential data and the regulatory data can be tier one. Confidential data is something, if you lose, it will be a grave damage to the organization. That is confidential. Plus regulatory means if that data is lost or that particular infrastructure or something happened to that infrastructure, there can be regulatory actions, which is legal actions can be taken against an organization, which can lead to the shutdown, even the shutdown of that organization. So that data, if we are sharing with the vendor, that will comes under tier one vendors. So we do different type of assessment. I will show you in the next slide what kind of assessment we do in tier one. And tier two is confidential data. If we lose that, there won't be any regulatory actions taken upon that, but it is also a grave damage can happen to the organization, reputation, amount loss, money loss, or even the business loss, share market loss, anything happen when a tier two data is lost. Tier 3 data is authorized use. That means those data is particularly only can be worked by an organization. So if belongs to an organization, if that data is lost from that organization, it can cause issues to that, not into a confidential level, but definitely it can cause issue to the organization. Next is tier 4. Tier 4 data is mostly public. So you guys maybe wonder why we are doing an assessment for a tier 4 vendor. So think like this, when we talk about the scope change, when a tier 4 vendor is getting into our organization, we are giving them every access, not access, we are approving them as a third party risk management team. But later on their scope change and it goes to a tier 3 level, tier 2 or tier 1 level. So we have to do a minimum assessment for the tier 4 one, because whenever there is a scope change, immediately the business, legal, or the sourcing team is the team which acquire this vendor. They will let the team know that this is different from the old scope you done the assessment. So this is domains 2. This is how we assess the third party. So for a tier 1 vendor, we check their identity management. When I say identity management, we check their how they are logging, how critical their password they are using. Like we have a practice of using password 123 or just 123 or our name, our parent name. So that will be checked in identity management, how hard their password, whether it include symbols, caps letter, lowercase, or numbers. Then data security, how they provide data security, information protection, security continuity, and you can read that much thing is covered in tier 1 vendors. And when I say this much topics is covered, each topic will have 10 to 15 or 20 questions there, which will give us as a risk posture of that particular vendor. So when 20 or something, there are 20 topics are there. Think like each have 20, then how many questions they have to answer for a tier 1. So in TPRM assessment, we will send this questionnaire via our tools. I will show you what are the tools we used in our organization for this. And when you check in the tier 2, we have almost half of the process we are doing, which is also important. Like we check how they manage the ransomware, they have any ransomware attack, how they manage people management, like how they are recruiting people, whether they are checking the background or not, how the detection process. What is detection process means? If there is a breach happen, how it will, they will know there is a breach happen. And the tier 3 have these many topics, tier 4 have none topic. This doesn't mean that we won't get anything from the vendor. In tier 4, what we do is that we check with the business um, what type of engagement is happening there, what are the data we are sharing, and we don't have direct involvement. TPRM team won't have direct involvement with the vendor, but they will manage to know what's happening there in the business. And if there is any scope change, they will let us know. The business will let us know. So the TPRM team, actually the sender blue color you able to see, no, that is actually TPRM team. TPRM team is surrounded by all these 4 main people, like vendors, legal team, sourcing team, and business unit. So vendors, that is third party. TPRM team will involve with the third party team to know what are their security process. Almost all the questions are done with vendors. Legal team is involved because the contract and procurement is done with legal team, and legal team will found out there will be any issue in the legal side with the vendor. So we don't have that access with the vendors. That is legal team. Business unit is the people who raise all this. Like they will found out there is a requirement of the vendor or third party for some kind of business. They engage TPRM team, legal team, and sourcing team for the acquirement of that particular vendor. And what is enterprise strategic sourcing team is, so the people who deals with, of course, money, the financial thing. They correlate the legal part, the business part, the TPRM part with the vendor. They work out on all the acquiring thing from the vendors. So these are the 4 teams which are in an organization revolves around a third party team. So these are the different services provided by TPRM, like onboarding assessment, continuous, as I already explained, continuous evaluation is happening. So in some cases, even the questionnaire won't give us proper answer. We have to go to their site, because if I'm sitting in a room, I'm saying that have all these details, but we have to check them whether they actually have these details if we are sharing high data with them. So in that case, we have on-site assessment is there. Then TPRM team do offboarding assessment, which I already explained. There is a remediation management happen, like when a third party have some risk there, TPRM team suggests remediation. You can do these and these things to get this issue solved so that we can acquire you. So we manage that. We give them a 3 months time. We check them whether the issue is solved or not. Then we propose our terms and condition. We check that and we approve the vendors. Next is incident response assessment. So as I said, when a TPRM team is onboarding, we are adding them to threat intelligence tools. So they provide us some incident if happen to the vendor. So incident response assessment is whenever there is an incident happen, as a response to that incident in the vendor, TPRM team do again the reassessment. So these are the tools we use. This is just examples of few tools. There are organizations who have different kind of tools they used for many different purpose in a TPRM team. So here I have used 3 or 4 other tools also, but mainly most of the organization use Archer. In Archer, what happened is that business raised a request for TPRM team. TPRM team can work on an Archer request internally, where business can put their comments, legal team can put their comments, and we can work on. There is a third-party tools called Prevalent Bitside tools. Prevalent is actually an application where we can set the vendor details, and the questionnaire can be automatically sent from Prevalent. For that, the vendors can give their inputs in the Prevalent tool, and we can manage us, we can check what are the things, what are the artifacts in the sense when you are asking whether you have these details for access control, they will provide you certain certification provided by a well standard companies to them. For example, if we are doing a third party for Amazon or Flipkart, they they have to be in line with the PCI DSS certification. If you ask me what is PCI DSS, it's a payment control certification which have to be undertaken by every company who hold credit card details or any kind of financial details from a customer. So if Amazon have PCI DSS with them, they provide that certification in the Prevalent tool so that we can cross verify. So if we are doing TPRM for Amazon and if we see PCI DSS certification there, we have that guarantee that yes, they have all the controls with them, because only if they satisfy certain criteria from their side, PCI DSS will certify them. So we have that assurance because of that certification. Those all artifacts, proof, details are collected in using Prevalent tool. Bitsite is actually a threat intelligence tool. They are a third party which have almost all the vendors in them, all the domains there. So whatever the loopholes, negative things, breaches, or any issue with their domains, everything they capture. They used to refresh in every 30 minutes. They capture issues every 30 minutes and give us, if that particular vendor is our vendor, we have to just subscribe that vendor in their site to get all this information. So this is one of towards the end of TPRM explanation. This is one of my favorite quote, because people think that only IT, like the B.Tech guys who do, or BCA guys who do, the computer experts only responsible for security. No, everyone in an organization is responsible for the security of that organization, and everyone have a role to play. So we are once you come out of your B.Tech BCA, you join an organization, do your part, be cyber smart, and that's when you join organization. But be aware that you have to be cyber smart when you are learning also, because nowadays we are going through online everything in mobile, laptop, tab, etc., etc. So always be cyber smart. We have a quote we used to tell in our cyber world is that trust but verify. You can trust everything, but before that you have to verify whether it's trustworthy or not. So this is my conclusion part. I know that party risk management can be an overwhelming topic for you guys, because when I was learning, it's 10 years back, I know. When I was in B.Tech, when some topics comes, no, that will be like a big topic for me. When I joined some organization, when they said about server farms, something like that, I was in a dilemma. Did I actually studied IT or not? So I can understand if third party is something uh, goes above your mind, but it is sure, guys, when you guys comes out, these things have top demand, like third party risk assessment, GRC, technology risk assessment, etc., etc. So that's why I took this topic. Even 10 percentage of this, you get something from this lecture, no, that's enough for me, because when you come out and 10 percentage of third party risk management, that's enough for the industry. So that's my side. Now I am open to all the questions if you have any.
Thank you, ma'am, for such a thought-provoking session. I'm sure everyone present here really valued the knowledge you shared and are the most appreciative of this session. So now the session is open for questions and discussions. So students may ask their queries and questions they have. Yeah, hopefully, ma'am, you have clarified everything with your presentation. So there's no doubt as such. Already they have understood the concept. So with this note, as we have entered the final moments of our session, where I feel privileged to propose a vote of thanks. First of all, I would like to thank our Department of CSE, AI and ML, and Cybersecurity, and Futurance Technologies to conduct a wonderful event of industry session, Industry Connect, where our students with faculty members are fortunate to connect with eminent industry experts of various domains. On behalf of the Department of Computer Science and Engineering of Jain, deemed to be university, and all the students, I extend a very hearty vote of thanks to Mrs. Athira to accept our invitation and for refurbishing our students with the best possible and upgraded education system. I must mention a deep sense of appreciation to our beloved HOD Sir, Dr. V. Vivek, for his constant support and motivation. And I sincerely thank our team of very motivated and hardworking faculty members to join this session. Finally, I would like to thank our students for paying their valuable attention. Once again, I would like to thank everyone for joining the session. Thank you. Thanks a lot.
You guys can reach out me on LinkedIn if you have any doubt on any of the cybersecurity questions. If I know the answer, I will share you. If not, I will ask someone, some colleagues or the experts in that field, and I will share you guys. Don't hesitate. Reach out on LinkedIn, ask your doubts, search everything in the Google, take whatever you want. Be safe. Whenever you going to click a link on online, just be sure that that's a valid one from a valid person. Otherwise, you never know, in background your data is still going out. Data in the means your a camera can be made on, your PII data like your name, mail address, whatever you are conveying, chatting, everything can be gone. So be safe. As I said, be cyber smart. Don't fall for anything. Thank you.